ON94 Project, The Financial Freedom Blueprint. PASH Part 1, The Financial Freedom Mindset. Introduction. Welcome back to ON94 Project. Today, we're beginning a journey that has the potential to change the direction of your entire life. Not next month, not next year, but decades into the future. We're talking about financial freedom, a phrase that gets thrown around constantly online, a phrase used in advertisements, social media posts, and motivational speeches. But very few people stop to define what it actually means. Financial freedom isn't about owning a yacht. It's not about flying on private jets. It's not about posting photos of expensive cars on social media. Financial freedom is much simpler than that. It's the ability to make decisions without money controlling those decisions. It's the ability to choose where you work, to choose how you spend your time, to choose how much stress you allow into your life, to choose your future instead of having your future chosen for you. Many people spend their lives believing that freedom is something reserved for the wealthy, something available only to people who inherit money, something available only to entrepreneurs who build billion-dollar companies. But history tells a different story. Every year, ordinary people achieve extraordinary financial results. Teachers, mechanics, nurses, electricians, truck drivers, administrative assistants, people who started with little and built something meaningful over time. The difference wasn't luck. The difference wasn't genius. The difference was understanding principles that most people ignore. And that's what this series is about. Not shortcuts, not get-rich-quick schemes, not lottery ticket thinking. We're talking about real financial freedom built through strategy, discipline, and patience. The kind that lasts, the kind that changes family trees, the kind that can impact generations. Before we discuss investing, budgets, retirement accounts, or business ownership, we need to start somewhere more important. We need to start with the mind, because every financial result begins with a financial belief. And whether you realize it or not, your beliefs about money influence nearly every decision you make. Chapter 1, The Invisible Script. Most people are following a financial script they never consciously chose. Think about it. As children, we absorb messages about money from our environment. Maybe you heard things like, money doesn't grow on trees. We can't afford that. Rich people are greedy. People like us never get ahead. Money is the root of all evil. Or perhaps you grew up hearing completely different messages. Maybe you heard, investing is important. Money is a tool. Opportunities are everywhere. We can figure it out. The point isn't whether these messages were right or wrong. The point is that they became part of your financial programming. And most people never examine that programming. They simply continue living according to it. Imagine driving a car with a navigation system that was programmed incorrectly years ago. No matter how hard you drive, you'll continue heading toward the wrong destination. The same thing happens financially. People work harder, take extra shifts, earn promotions, make more money, yet somehow they remain stuck because they're operating from beliefs that sabotage their progress. The first step toward financial freedom is recognizing that your current financial situation is not just a reflection of your income. It's a reflection of your habits, behaviors, and beliefs. That's empowering because while you may not be able to control everything about your circumstances, you can control what you believe and how you respond. Chapter 2, Why Most People Never Become Financially Free. Let's talk about a reality that many people never hear. Most people never achieve financial freedom, not because they're incapable, not because they're unintelligent, not because they don't work hard. In many cases, it's because they're trapped in a cycle that looks normal, a cycle that society often encourages. The cycle begins with education. We're taught to study hard, get good grades, find a job, work for decades, retire, and hopefully enjoy life afterward. There's nothing inherently wrong with this path, but there is a problem. Very few people are taught how money actually works. Many people spend more time learning geometry than learning investing, more time studying historical events than understanding compound interest, more time preparing for exams than preparing for financial decisions. As a result, they enter adulthood without the tools necessary to build wealth. They earn money, they spend money, they repeat, year after year, decade after decade. Eventually, they wonder why progress feels so slow. The answer often lies in a simple concept. Consumption creates temporary satisfaction. Ownership creates long-term wealth. Most people spend their income acquiring liabilities: a larger house, a newer car, expensive gadgets, luxury items. Again, there's nothing wrong with enjoying your money, but problems arise when consumption consistently exceeds wealth building. Financial freedom comes from accumulating assets. Assets generate value. Assets generate income. Assets appreciate over time. Assets work while you sleep. The wealthy understand this distinction. They don't merely earn money. They buy things that produce more money. And over time, that difference compounds into enormous results. Chapter 3: The Power of Delayed Gratification. One of the most important concepts in personal finance is delayed gratification. It's a simple idea: the willingness to sacrifice a small reward today for a larger reward tomorrow. Unfortunately, modern culture often encourages the opposite: instant gratification, one-click purchases, same-day delivery, buy now, pay later. Everything is designed to make waiting feel unnecessary. But wealth is built through waiting. Think about planting a tree. The day you plant it, nothing appears to happen. A week later, very little changes. A month later, progress remains difficult to see. Yet beneath the surface, roots are developing, growth is occurring, and eventually the results become visible. Money works the same way. Investing $100 doesn't feel life-changing. Neither does investing $1,000 or even $10,000. But over years and decades, those decisions begin to accumulate. Then something remarkable happens. The process accelerates. What once seemed insignificant becomes powerful. What once seemed slow becomes unstoppable. The challenge is that most people quit before reaching this stage. They expect immediate results. When they don't see them, they abandon the process. Meanwhile, the patient few continue, and eventually, the gap becomes enormous. Financial freedom belongs to people who understand that today's decisions create tomorrow's opportunities. Chapter 4: The Difference Between Rich and Wealthy. Many people confuse being rich with being wealthy. They are not the same thing. A rich person may have a high income. A wealthy person has assets that generate income. A rich person can lose their paycheck and immediately face financial pressure. A wealthy person can continue generating income through investments, businesses, and assets. This distinction matters because many people spend their lives pursuing appearances rather than freedom. They focus on looking successful: the luxury car, the designer clothes, the expensive vacations. But appearances can be deceptive. Some people who look wealthy are heavily in debt. Meanwhile, some truly wealthy people live surprisingly modest lives. They prioritize ownership over image, freedom over status, long-term security over short-term admiration. The goal is not to impress strangers. The goal is to create options. And options come from wealth, not appearances. Chapter 5: The Most Valuable Asset You Own. Many people believe money is their most valuable asset. It's not. Your most valuable asset is time. Every dollar you lose can potentially be earned again. Time cannot. Once a day passes, it's gone forever. This realization changes the way you think about financial decisions. Because ultimately, financial freedom is not about money. Money is simply the tool. Time is the reward. The reason people pursue financial freedom is because they want greater control over their time. Time with family, time for health, time for creativity, time for travel, time for personal growth. Every financial decision should be evaluated through this lens. Does this decision move me closer to owning my time or further away? This question alone can transform your financial life. Chapter 6: Comparison is the Enemy. One of the fastest ways to sabotage financial progress is comparison. Social media makes this particularly difficult. Every day, people are exposed to carefully curated highlights from other people's lives. Luxury vacations, new homes, expensive purchases, business success stories. What you don't see are the struggles, the debt, the mistakes, the years of effort behind those outcomes. Comparison creates pressure. Pressure leads to poor decisions. People buy things they can't afford to impress people they don't know. They chase lifestyles instead of goals. They pursue status instead of freedom. Financial freedom requires a different mindset. Instead of comparing yourself to others, compare yourself to who you were yesterday. Focus on progress, not perfection. Small improvements repeated consistently become extraordinary over time. Chapter 7: Taking Responsibility. This chapter may be uncomfortable, but it's important. Financial freedom begins with responsibility, not blame. Responsibility. Many factors influence financial outcomes: economic conditions, family circumstances, unexpected hardships, market fluctuations. These realities matter. But regardless of circumstances, progress begins when individuals focus on what they can control: income, spending, saving, learning, investing, discipline, habits. The moment you take ownership of your financial future, something changes. You stop waiting for rescue. You stop waiting for perfect conditions. You stop waiting for luck. You begin acting. And action creates momentum. Momentum creates results. Results create confidence. Confidence creates even more action. This cycle can transform an entire life. Conclusion. As we conclude part one, remember this: financial freedom is not a number. It's not a bank balance. It's not a specific salary. It's a process, a journey built one decision at a time. The people who achieve it are rarely the smartest, rarely the luckiest, rarely the most talented. They're simply the ones who stay committed long enough for the process to work. Over the next parts of this series, we're going to build the blueprint step by step. We'll discuss budgeting, debt elimination, emergency funds, investing, income growth, multiple streams of income, and a practical roadmap that can move you toward financial freedom regardless of where you're starting today. Because your financial future is not determined by where you begin. It's determined by the choices you make from this moment forward. This is ON94 Project, and your journey toward financial freedom has officially begun. End of part one.